On today's DNVR Broncos podcast, we're breaking down rookie minicamp that happened over the weekend and just wrapped up. Two guys really stood out to me. Plus, there's a clear fan favorite in this rookie class. We're going to break it down with a very special guest starting now. The rookies are back. The Broncos are back. The DNVR Broncos podcast is back. And our guy, Jake Schwanitz, the legend, is back with us on the DNVR Broncos podcast, live inside the Toyota Lounge, inside DNVR Bar, driven by your local Toyota Front Range stores. And speaking of Toyota, the Toyota chat popping off. James Robinson, the former running back?
You never know anymore, man. I mean, YouTube is just
true.
It's crazy these days.
It makes me think it's him even more because he's talking about RJ Harvey. He's talking running backs right there.
He knows his stuff. Yep. He knows what he's seeing.
He knows ball. Angel T says, nice tan, Zach. Thank you, Angel. I was out at rookie minicamp all weekend, so got the nice tan there. And shout out to everyone else tuning in. And shout out to Jake for rocking and rolling with me today.
Shout out to you, bro. Thanks for having me on.
I'm pumped.
We held it down on Friday for you.
You did.
We had a good show. I'm excited to hear what you learned, though. I'm really excited.
I told you this before the show. And so just to be transparent with everyone, I'm typically optimistic about the Broncos and where things are. There's no doubt about it, especially over this past year. That optimism has actually come to fruition and felt good. This rookie class, after 2 weeks of just taking in who they are, but then more so getting to know them this past weekend on and off the field, Jake, I'm feeling as good about this rookie class as I've felt about any rookie class. And honestly, right now, I want to say I feel better about this rookie class than I felt about any rookie class with the Broncos right now.
Man.
It's so early, but just initial impressions are, I think of that draft class that Sean Payton had where they had like Trey Hendrickson in the fourth. They had so many dogs. What was it? Marshawn Lattimore in the first round.
Did they take Kamara in that draft?
Kamara was in that too.
And then Ramczyk?
Yeah, Ramczyk. Yes, it was stacked.
Yeah.
It was loaded. And that is kind of the very early vibes I get from this draft class. And I know it's so early, but man, I'm feeling really good about these guys.
Man, I love that. Even when this draft came down from the first pick with Barron, I mean, it was obviously a BPA pick. And then you get your running back. But after there, it was kind of like, just take these premium position guys, wide receivers, pass rushers. I mean, you could even go get your punter. Like, it felt like the Broncos felt that they were ahead of schedule going into this draft, and the picks kind of reflect that.
You're spot on. They needed one player in this draft. Like, there was a clear, you have to get a running back in this draft.
Yep.
But everything else was like, man, you can go BPA, and the Broncos clearly felt that way because they did exactly that. They could have drafted a guy who I love, Sai'vion Henderson, in the first round. They could have done that, and I think it would have been a great pick. Instead, they said, we like Harvey maybe just as much as Sai'vion Henderson, because they did like Sai'vion, and said, but we got Jahdae Barron right there. We can't pass up on him. And we're going to talk about all of the rookies at rookie minicamp. But Jake, well, really quick, before we dive in, I'm LFB, baby. Let's freaking Bo. And if you want to get on the LFB board, you can get the LFB shirt. You can get the Heisman shirt. Man, only good things coming out about Travis Hunter. No surprise to anyone, especially you. But holy cow, he's making the Jacksonville Jaguars relevant right now.
Yeah, and that story that's like on social media of him like sitting next to the woman on the plane and stuff, like that's just Travis. Like he is a bright spot on the football field. He's just a bright spot any room he enters. He's going to be such a superstar in this league.
He 100% is. And if you want to rep him, you want to rep Bo, you want to rep the Broncos, you want to rep the Nuggets, you want to rep anything, we've got our sale going on. Everything is 30% off. Plus, we've got up to 75% off over at our locker. And I mean, we just got so many things. It's our spring cleaning clearance sale going on at the locker. So make sure to get in on that. We'll have a link in the description as well. So, Jake, we're going to talk about all these guys.
Okay.
But there were two guys that jumped out at me this weekend, specifically when watching practice and a little bit off the field as well. If I tell you that, who are your guesses on the two guys?
I'm glad you asked me that.
And I'll tell you they're both drafted guys. We're not going like UDFAs or anything.
Cool. First and foremost, RJ Harvey has to be number one.
Spot on. And he is number one. Yep.
I already know the second one because I saw your tweet.
Yeah. So then you're going to be 2 for 2.
Q Robinson, baby.
Yep. Those two guys jumped out at me, and it doesn't mean that like Jahdae Barron was a disappointment by any means. We'll talk about him as well. But these two guys, like there should be very high expectations on Jahdae Barron, and we'll talk about him in just a second. But holy cow, let's start with not only two guys that jumped out to me. There's one guy that should be just an immediate fan favorite. And I think he already is. But once people get to know RJ Harvey, they're going to love his personality as well. This is maybe the most confident rookie that I've ever talked to.
Let's go, man.
But it doesn't come across, because sometimes, even me, it can confident can turn into cocky, and it's like, oh man, I don't really like that. It is like he walks the line of confident without being cocky, and people are just going to absolutely fall in love with RJ Harvey. And our first thing that stands out is something that Sean said after practice. He's interested in short running backs, not small running backs.
Okay.
And that's what RJ Harvey is. He's short. He's not small. And the very first thing that jumps out, and we actually have some B-roll that we're going to play for you guys, is his quads. Von Miller had massive quads. RJ Harvey's quads are exploding out of his shorts just like Von did. And you see him, he looks like... he is just a tank. He is built. His lower body is so big. His legs are just the type of legs that Sean Payton wants, that are short legs that can just make breaks at any point. We've also got Pat Bryant on the screen. We'll talk about him in a second too. But man, RJ Harvey, he already just looks the part of an NFL running back with his size.
It's exactly that right there. He looks the part. Good to see him catching passes right there. But the guy is proven, man. The last 2 years of college football at UCF, 1,400 yards in 23, 1,500, and 22 touchdowns last year. That'll play, man.
No.
All the kind of fan base, I guess a little freak out about the size thing and stuff with the draft. I think those concerns should be, pretty. You should be feeling pretty good about what you've seen from RJ Harvey. So.
Yeah, 100%. And like you said, Jake, you brought up last year and what he did at UCF. It just amazes me that the Buffs, quote unquote, shut RJ Harvey down, and they did, according to the rest of the games that he had. The Buffs did a good job against him, and he still had nearly 170 yards from scrimmage. That just shows how dynamic of a player he is. And RJ Harvey, now it's pretty darn clear that he's going to have a big role as a receiver out of the backfield. And watching him, he only had 20 catches last season, but that was because UCF didn't really throw him the ball. So it wasn't really his fault. And I'll tell you what, he was... he showed me that he's definitely a receiver out of the backfield, not just with his hands and catching the ball, but he just looked like a natural, specifically on wheel routes, which are kind of tough for guys. He caught everything that went his way, and that's going to be something that he's going to take a big step from last year to this year on.
It's just something he wasn't asked to do at UCF. Gus Malzahn, he ends up getting fired last season, but he was the head coach there, kind of built up that program a bit. Scott Frost taking over now, but UCF was a very, very, very run-heavy team. They had KJ Jefferson, if you remember him at Arkansas a few years back. They love the option stuff. Actually, one of the plays I saw in that Colorado game was the 75-yard wheel route that RJ Harvey caught, and he is just a blur when he gets the ball in open field. That's exactly what he did on that play. I think we can expect to see that in orange and blue this year, too.
Yep, 100%. And this is... for this year, at least, this is the most important rookie for the Broncos.
100%. For the next 2-3 years, maybe he's the most important rookie.
You're
besides
spot on.
Bo.
Yeah, right. But because Jahdae, he is someone where he's not going to be asked to be like a full-time starter. He's going to be inside, outside. You also have Riley Moss to complement him. So despite being the first-round pick, he's not the most important rookie. If RJ Harvey steps up and be the player that he thinks he can be, this Broncos offense was the 10th best scoring offense in the NFL last year, Jake. They're going to take a jump to top 5. If it maybe it's like a bar for them, if RJ Harvey is the guy he thinks he can be. And we've got some clips from him on that. But first, I want to hear what Sean had to say about RJ Harvey, because this is the first time that we've talked to Sean since Sean has got to see him, got to work with him. And I want to say not only was I really impressed with RJ Harvey, I think it's pretty clear Sean was impressed with him. So let's hear from Sean Payton talking about RJ Harvey.
There's a baseline, and so I would say, man, we really start with the fundamentals, and the growth comes, and the growth comes, you feel it. Sometimes it comes faster than you expect, sometimes maybe slower. But he's someone that, look, he's picked up on very quickly what we're doing. You can tell it's real important to him. But this is like, the first exposure to the training room, the weight room, the schedule, the nutrition, the practice. There's a lot more than just, hey, we're going to run these plays, So he's looked good though. I mean, he's listen. We're glad he's here, and each day there's a little bit of an installation where that we add a little bit more to it.
So that is extra encouraging. The thing that really stands out to me there, Jake, is Sean says he's picking things up very quickly. That's something that I can't tell from the outside looking in on practice, and everything I saw in the field looked good. But then Sean adds this, that he's picking up things very quickly. This was just, 30 hours into rookie minicamp, and he says he's picking up on things quickly. That's the one thing that he has to have in order to be the starting running back. And the fact that he has it so soon into this, man, I mean, he's running back week one.
Of course he is, yeah, definitely. And this goes back to when Sean was hired, I think. Like, he saw this roster and didn't really see it as much of a rebuild, I think, as many people, maybe even me included, thought at that point, right? So he goes out and gets these experienced guys from college, like a Bo Nix, like an RJ Harvey, who have done it for 4 or 5 years already at this point. It's going to be easy for them, just being in those type of settings for that amount of time. They're going to be able to pick one of the most complicated offenses, as some would call it, maybe for a rookie. He's going to be able to pick it up and hit the ground running, I think.
Really
very
running.
exciting.
Yeah, running fast, that 4.3 speed. And one of the things that he's going to do, and that you're talking about, you think he's going to be that week one starting running back. So do I. He said he wants to have an immediate impact. And he also said something that I think you and every Broncos fan is just going to absolutely love about Bo Nix. And I want to hit that in just a second after I give a shout out to our friends over at their new friends, and they're great friends, over at First Bank, where whether you're on the road, at home, or somewhere in between, First Bank makes banking easy, convenient, and secure. Their mobile banking app allows you to check balances, pay friends, and manage your money anytime, anywhere. And here's the best part. Open a new First Bank checking account today, and you can earn $300. First Bank is all about helping you stay on track. Their tools make it simple to stay in control of your finances without the hassle. No matter where life takes you, First Bank gives you the freedom to bank how and when it works best for you. So if you want to get that $300 in your checking account, go to efirstbank.com/bonus. That's efirstbank.com/bonus. If you're ready for a better banking experience and a chance to earn a little extra, head to efirstbank.com/bonus to open your account. Bank how you want, when you want, with First Bank. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC. And again, that's efirstbank.com/bonus.
And also shout out to our friends over at Mando. Mando is the men's deodorant brand that's hyper-focused on keeping every aspect of a man's body smelling fresh and clean. Yes, every single aspect.
Every single piece.
Pits, belly buttons, balls, butt cracks, grundles, and more. They got you covered. You can smell nice and fresh with scents like bourbon leather, Clover Woods, Mount Fiji, and Pro Sport. Tons more. Get a starter pack it's perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code DNVR at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
See, Jake, you're the best because I welcome you on the show. You
I already know.
You do such a great job of joining me today, and then I throw you in with the Mando read right there, and you crush it.
I got you, man. I got you. I've done this a few times.
Yes. You certainly have, as you just crush it on the Buff Show as well. You even got a laugh out of Dion when doing the read. So shout out to you. Thank you for joining me.
Always.
And one of the people that RJ Harvey is joining is Bo Nix on this. And a report came out, I think it was actually before the draft, that RJ Harvey, one of the teams he wanted to go to was the Broncos. So that report came out, and we asked RJ about it. Why did you want to be a Bronco? And his answer was simple. He said, Bo Nix. And he said, I love the way he plays. I love how he competes. I love what he brings to this field. And oh my goodness, Jake, there's no better sign than when veterans are pointing to Bo. Evan Ingram pointed to Bo as the reason he wanted to sign. Rookies are already identifying that as the team that they want to go to just 1 year into this thing.
He's battle tested, man. That's why. I mean, what he went through in college, taking that roster last year. And I think from RJ Harvey's aspect, it's what he did without a running game, right? Like, RJ saw that.
Yeah.
He probably figured, you know what? That's a place that I could go to, make an instant impact, be, standing right next to Bo in the backfield, and we could just run this thing. And that's what I think we're going to see unfold on the field this season.
Man, I love that. And when you said we're going to run this thing, I just think of read options with those
That's
two now.
That's what we need, bro.
And now you have to respect the running game.
Yes.
So that should open Bo up even more. And we know Bo was running for 50 yards a game in the first month when he was still learning the offense and really slowed it down after that. I think Sean's going to ramp that up back to kind of the start of the season. And that just makes it so much more difficult for a defense to defend.
Absolutely. And this is something we've talked a lot on the Buffs pod recently, because they've got a running quarterback now, after having Shador, and it changes everything. I mean, you guys watch football. You watch football. You know what it means when people say playing 11 on 11, especially for offense and the run game with the quarterback. It's just another whole aspect you have to throw out there. And, with Sean Payton, an offensive mastermind, I mean, just let the guy cook at this point. It's going to be a ball to watch.
Yep. That's exactly what he's going to do. Let him cook. Okay, one more thing that I want to hit we actually have the clip of Harvey talking about Bo. I'll let you hear it straight from Harvey's mouth instead of mine. Here's RJ Harvey when asked, why were the Broncos a team that you wanted to go to?
Bo Nix. I love how he plays. And, I feel like it's a great team. Had a great year last year. And young team, great defense. And, I'm just ready to get to work with everything.
Man, just hearing him talk, just a 7-second answer, just gets me fired up because he's right. Bo Nix, he believes he's the guy. I believe he's the guy. You pair that with a guy who very much believes in himself, and then you couple that with a great defense. Man, it's something. And I'm happy we had that clip there because he looks jacked. He's wearing a little hoodie plus an undershirt, and you can still tell how NFL ready he looks. So you can say he's short. Sean Payton said he's short. But he's not small.
I mean, you got to trust Sean Payton. He's dealt with so many of guys, with this kind of archetype at running back, right? I mean, Alvin Kamara's maybe a little bit taller, but you talk about Darren Sproles, Reggie Bush maybe a little bit taller, but Pierre Thomas was a small guy. He did everything for the Saints back in the day. It's exciting. Let's see if RJ can kind of be the next in that line. I think he can. He's a super explosive back, and you mentioned the legs and the strength that he has. It's the contact balance for me. I mean, that trait and, broken tackles forced or missed tackles forced, that stuff just translates, man. That's super easy to see on film. And like we saw with Javonte in his rookie year, I mean, that's what he was doing. That's what he did at UNC. That's what we can expect from RJ, I think, this season too.
He doesn't want to just be in line with those guys, Jake. And here's where the confident part comes out. He was asked, so he said, he told us that he was watching film with Sean Payton the very first day of rookie minicamp, and they were watching Darren Sproles and Alvin Kamara. And he says, man, those guys were so good, and I want to be better than them. He straight up said, I want to be better than them. And it's like, oh, man, let's go. Because, so Darren Sproles only spent 3 years with Sean Payton, had averaged 1,000 yards from scrimmage, mostly in the receiving game in that time. And so it's like, okay, RJ should be better than that, for sure. You can expect more than 1,000 yards a season from him. But Alvin Kamara, he spent 5 seasons with Sean Payton when he was a rookie up until Sean left the Saints. 5 seasons. 5 Pro Bowls. He averaged 1,500 yards from scrimmage and 13 touchdowns. So it's like he should be better than Darren Sproles. But if he's setting the bar for him, that's his baseline, he wants to be better, oh my goodness, I love the confidence.
That's exactly what you want out of your rookie, especially one that's assuming as large of a role as RJ Harvey's going to assume this year. And, part of the reason, going back a few years, why I really wanted Sean to coach the Broncos, and of course, great offensive mind, gets the running backs involved in the passing game. His run game, though, is so varied. It's a lot of zone gap. He can really make it game plan dependent, make it player dependent on who's running the football. So he's really going to enhance RJ's strengths and, maybe put some new tools into his arsenal, too, with the passing game and all that. Sean's got an absolute weapon here in RJ Harvey. It's going to be a blast to watch this unfold. And I think RJ, as he's talking about right here, he's ready for it, man.
Man, Jake, you bring up such a good point, just how Sean is able to use so many different running backs to their strengths, find it. And then you mentioned the role that he's going to have. RJ Harvey might have the biggest role that a single running back has had in a Sean Payton offense if he runs away with it. Like, he is going to have that opportunity. Typically, Sean likes to go with two running backs. I mean, even when they had Mark Ingram, they go out and draft Alvin Kamara, and then those guys pretty much split the role. Darren Sproles was not the running back. They also had, I believe, Mark Ingram at that time as well. RJ Harvey, if he takes away with this, you'll see a Jaleel or an Audric on the field, but it's not going to be like a 50-50 split. It'll be an 80-20 split. And so to your point about just him having an opportunity to have a big role, that is very much the case. So I think that he is going to be a fan favorite on the field, off the field, and I absolutely love it. And I hope you guys were able to tell just how he is not a small running back. He is going to be able to carry a load, and the Broncos are going to trust him there. Okay, let's move on so we can get to as many of these guys as possible and talk about the opposite side of the ball. Q Robinson is a guy that really jumped out to me because of his jump off the line of scrimmage. His first step off the line, I mean, this isn't me saying it. This was the guys from the 33rd team who they both agreed that Q Robinson was the sleeper of the draft. And one of them said, well, he's got a Von Miller burst. And you hear that anytime. We all know how good Von Miller is. You're like, okay, well, he's just comparing to an all-time great. He was a 4th-round pick. How can you have a Von Miller burst? I don't know, man. It was impressive. His jump is so good. His first step off the line. And Jake, you can't touch the quarterbacks in practice.
Sure.
He would have had, and I know he's probably going up against a lot of undrafted guys, and probably guys that won't make the team a tackle. He probably would have had 7 sacks in one practice. Just the way he was getting off the ball, and it really was that first step that was giving it to him.
I mean, there were a lot of things that I think people picked apart in his game, but you're right. The first step, I mean, first watch, that's immediately what popped out to me. That and like the intensity that he plays with. I mean, he's got a motor on him too.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of a tweener. You're going to have to figure out exactly what to do, with his development from that standpoint, I guess. But other than that, I mean, he hasn't played a lot, maybe a little reserve role, but you're seeing it, he's really kind of realizing his potential, it looks like already at this point, taking advantage of the opportunity. I love that you said that, though. And that's part of the reason why I love this pick and the pick of Sai'vion Jones, too, is because, as I mentioned, kind of at the start of the show, those are like picks that you make when it's like, that's like what the Eagles do. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let's just take some more pass rushers type of thing.
Yep.
I just love that that's the philosophy. That's where we're at with this team, that we can add players like Q Robinson to, maybe not a need, but can still have an impact and maybe break into the rotation and just give us some added juice on one of the best defenses already in the NFL.
Coming into, and I like the Q pick, especially being an Alabama fan, so very biased to it, but coming into this past weekend, I thought, man, how is he going to see the field year one outside of special teams? After watching him in one practice, I know it's only one practice, but initial impression is he will see the field in a pass rush role. And that's the biggest compliment because this was the best pass rush team in the NFL last year. Led the lead in sacks, and it wasn't even close. You have Nick Bonito, you have Jonathan Cooper, you have Jonah Ellis, who was the only player in the NFL that was 21 years or younger to have 5 sacks. So a really good group, and he is going to add to that this year. And he's very different off the field than the RJ Harvey. He and Sai'vion Jones are very quiet guys, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just wanted you guys to hear from Q as well. So he was asked, what's it like playing with Pat Surtain? Obviously not just a great player, but a former Alabama player as well.
Right.
And he's kind of getting to live out his dream playing alongside Pat. Let's hear Q talking about Pat.
Man, it's great. It's extremely like stoked right now, dog. I ain't gonna lie to you, dog. Like I said, Pat's my favorite defensive football player from Alabama, and man, it's just good feeling just to be on the team with somebody that I look up to.
He gets to play with his favorite defensive player in Alabama football history. That's pretty cool.
Man, I love that. And you can kind of tell he's a little maybe overwhelmed, I guess. I don't think he's had that many mics in front of him before.
100%.
I just love that stuff, man. This is what it's all about, is just seeing these guys kind of grow into the moment. I mean, it's kind of a culture pick too, right? With that Alabama, ties with him and Pat. I mean, they played together. Q goes back to 2020 at Alabama. His role obviously increased as time went on, but it's nice for him to have some familiarity with one of the best players on the roster already. That's going to make this transition for him just that much easier.
Yeah, 100%. And when you say that, it reminds me of Jahdae Barron, who played at Texas, played with a ton of the Texas guys that are on the Broncos now. And if he didn't play with them, he still had a lot of communication with them. And that is a really good point about Q having some familiarity with Pat, because Jahdae was asked, have you talked to Pat? I think. Have you talked to Pat and Riley? And he goes, yeah, a little bit, but I have all my Texas guys, which I've talked to a ton, and they've really welcomed me to the team. And so I think that connection, to have something there, really does help. And Jahdae's also a guy. He's more of the RJ Harvey type, where he's just very comfortable. He's confident and comfortable in the moment. And some of these other guys are clearly just trying to earn their way into the building, like Q is. And I don't know if you could fully tell from that video, but Q, like most Alabama players are when they come out, has NFL size already.
Yep.
And not all the rookies, I'm going to say, have the NFL size, but Q and RJ both definitely have that. And speaking of Jahdae, let's hear from Jahdae talking about, this is actually Harvey talking about Jahdae. So in camp, there was a run that went inside the tackles, and RJ kind of exploded, and the play was pretty much over, but you had Jahdae track him down and would have tackled him if it was a real game. And then Harvey put a little juke move on him and got past him right after the two high-fived, and it was kind of a fun moment. And so during Harvey's press conference, Jahdae got in on it and said, why'd you have to juke me like that in practice? And here was what Harvey said.
I had to get the first rounder, man. I had to do something.
He had to get the first rounder, man.
I love the competitiveness and the fire and the confidence from him already, man. He's going to fit in perfectly. And that's exactly what you want to see, right? We talk about iron sharpening iron. Let's start right away at rookie minicamp then. Let's see how competitive you are. Let's see, the first and the second round draft pick duking it out. I don't think you get very many opportunities at times to see that. Yeah. So to be able to see that right away is already pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And on the field, Harvey or Barron, he brings some swag. He's got the arm sleeve, and he just looks like an NFL baller. And there were more takeaways from Barron on the field that we're going to get to as soon as I tell you about our friends over at Shady Rays, where Jake, it was sunny as can be. It was 85
Beautiful.
And sunny. We're going to be out there for training camp, and I'm definitely going to need to have my Shady Rays, and you're going to need your Shady Rays. Honestly, wherever you live, but especially in summertime in Colorado, you are going to need Shady Rays. Whether you're just hanging out, watching football, by the pool, even if you're just driving, you need your Shady Rays. We got that 300 days of sunshine where you need Shady Rays. And what I love about Shady Rays, they literally have hundreds of different options that you can get over at Shady Rays. So many different colors, so many different styles. They have many different pairs that will fit you right. And then what I also love about Shady Rays is they just, if you buy from them, you're not going to have to worry if you like this, I'm stuck with it. No, because they have returns, exchanges. If your pair gets broken, they're going to send you a new one. They are going to take care of you, so they're a great company as well. And for our listeners, they're giving you 35% off by using the code DNVR over at shadyrays.com. Then use that code DNVR for 35% off polarized sunglasses. All their sunglasses are polarized. And on top of that, it's already affordable. Then you get 35% off the affordable pair over at Shady Rays already. We love Shady Rays. other people do as well. They've been given 5 stars by over 300,000 people. It's a world-class product. Use that code DNVR over at ShadyRays.com to get 35% off your polarized sunglasses.
And in honor of RK, I'll just say, man, I love my Toyota. Shout out to RK and Ellie, for real, though. Congrats.
Yes.
And also shout out to our friends over at Toyota. They got all the options you could possibly want. Stunt on the streets in a sports car, going to the mountains with an SUV. They also got the hybrids. Tons more options. You can also drive into the playoffs with our friends over at Toyota. Enter now for your shot at winning incredible prizes, including playoff tickets, a private suite experience for you and your friends, and a flyaway adventure to see a Nuggets playoff game on the road, or a chance to drive away in an all-new epic 2025 Toyota 4Runner. Drive into the playoffs with your Front Range Toyota stores: AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Inglewood, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets and the official vehicle of DNVR.
And shout out to everyone tuning in with us in the Toyota chat. We really appreciate everyone rocking and rolling with us in the middle of May, talking football. Hit us with a thumbs up if you're tuning in. Really helps us out. And make sure to just drop a like, a hello in the Toyota chat as well. And in fact, a great comment in the Toyota chat coming in from Daniel Sepp. A great question. He says, Q is an edge, not an inside linebacker, right? I'm very happy you asked that, because he was an edge at Alabama, but did sometimes like blitz up the middle, did sometimes play off-ball linebacker as well. But it's very clear he is going to be just a pure outside linebacker. So great question there, Daniel. And we're not allowed to get into this a lot of specifics into what happened at practice. The Broncos have rules on that and are pretty strict on that. That's why we haven't gotten to too much specifics. And so I have to be a little vague when talking about Jahdae Barron and the role on this team.
All right,
but what
I love that,
What
though.
I can say, though, is he is going to play all over the field for this team. And I thought, like, okay, he's clearly the best rookie cornerback out on the field. Maybe he's just going to be at outside corner all of rookie minicamp, because that's, where the top guys go. No. He's everywhere, which shows me as a rookie, he is going to be everywhere, inside, outside, and one play he might be inside. The next play he's going to be outside, and you could tell that he didn't have any questions with it. Like he was mentally ready to go.
I love that for multiple reasons. I mean, one, that just validates why you took him where you took him, right? It's why they were so high on him, probably why he was so high on their board. They see so much that he can do and add to this defense. But he's just been there and done that too, right? He's played so much football, and he's going to allow you, to kind of be a matchup player, I think, too, right? He doesn't really have the size to go against, the bigger tight ends, Travis Kelce and all that. But, depending on the matchup too, and play to play, just moving him, following him around on whatever wide receiver you think is best for him to cover. I mean, this guy is going to he's going to change this defense. One of the best defenses already in the NFL. He's an absolute chess piece. It's going to be fascinating to see exactly where he lines up. I remember being in our draft show when the pick came through, and my immediate reaction was, I wonder if he plays safety. Yeah. And this is just where we're at. I mean, he comes in, everyone's saying nickel. Now you're saying he's playing everywhere. I just love this, man. He's the type of player who can do all that, and he's going to be a massive, massive addition to this defense.
If the Broncos played the Cleveland Browns this year with Jahdae like they did last year, when it was Jameis Winston and Jerry Jeudy had over 200 yards, and that was the reason he was a Pro Bowler, Jerry Jeudy would not have 50 receiving yards, because the biggest issue there was they wanted to leave Pat on the outside, and then what the Browns did was they motioned Jerry Jeudy in every single snap, and the way the defense was they wouldn't allow Pat to follow Jerry. So then that got Jerry wide open, especially because Levi Wallace was in, because Riley Moss was out. If that were to happen this year, Jahdae's right there. And then Jerry Jeudy is not going for 200 yards. So I really think that this was a Jerry Jeudy pick, as crazy as that is. And then if he does motion in and then out, Jahdae can follow him because he's comfortable playing everywhere as well.
I mean, I think that's totally fine, though. Like, you learn a lot in just, little games like that, even though, the Browns weren't anything to really write home about last year. That game should have taught you a lot about where you need to get better just moving forward in multiple aspects, right? Especially in the secondary. I mean, they were dealing with some depth issues in that game too, I think, right? So there's more, more aspects to what happened in that game. But he's going to, if we had Jahdae Barron for that game, I mean, it surely plays out different than how it did when What a night, though.
Yeah,
I was at that game.
Oh,
Crazy
man. The Bo pass to Marvin, man. Best pass of the season.
Absolutely lost my mind. And I was in the end zone,
so you got
behind Bo. So I just saw it all. It was just beautiful.
But you're like, for a second, it's like, oh my gosh, it's going to be picked off.
Literally, yeah.
And then it turns out it was just a perfect rope.
Marvin's just running 50 yards. Just no one around him.
No one even close. Will that be Pat Bryant and Bo Nix this year? Because Pat was out there, and I'll tell you what, he has NFL size now. I think he can still get stronger and stuff, but I was really impressed with his physique coming out of Illinois right now. Obviously, some people thought the Broncos reached on this pick. I think the more and more we get to know about Pat Bryant, the better of a pick it seems. And I'll tell you what really impressed me is his footwork and route running. Crisp for a rookie. It can definitely get better, but pretty darn crisp. You could tell that he was the only running back or wide receiver that the Broncos drafted just because it was him, and then just kind of a big drop off since then. But that's encouraging because these other guys obviously played college last year, but Pat really kind of separated himself, and it does make me think like, man, he's probably got a role on this team this year as a rookie.
I think so. I think there's room in this receiver room for someone like him to break out, and I think it validates why they took him where they took him too. That's just who he was at Illinois. And I think part of the reason why he was so, maybe people looked at it as a reach or maybe as Pat Bryant as a gem was because of it's just Illinois, right?
Yep, totally.
They're a super heavy run team as well, but a real breakout season this year. And the thing that I loved about, going back and watching the season were the 3 game-winning touchdowns. He's just a clutch player.
Yeah.
So you're going to need that, I'm sure, but he can also do whatever you want on the field as well. I'm going to be very interested to see where he lines up and what kind of role he assumes in this offense.
Yeah, and let's actually hear from Pat talking about what it means to be a Bronco and his first time around the building.
I said, be the best Pat Bryant, not really, modeling my game. At the end of the day, I'm trying to be better, get to that level.
That was actually, I asked him, because you heard Sean Payton after the draft say, I see Michael Thomas traits in Pat Bryant. So I asked him, what do you think of that? And he said, I'm just trying to be the best Pat Bryant that I can be, which I loved. And that's a different way. That's kind of a very different way than RJ Harvey took with his approach of saying, I want to be better than those guys. Instead of saying, I want to be better than Michael Thomas, he's just focused on himself. And maybe that's the right approach for that Pat took, because he just compared him to Michael Thomas. Was literally one of the best receivers of all time when he was healthy.
Yeah, he was. He was a game changer for that offense. He was, a lot of people nicknamed him Slant Boy, kind of to take a shot at him.
Yep.
He was just always open. He was that safety valve for Breeze in that offense back in the day. And I think that's kind of something and this is probably to do with the running backs more, but that short to intermediate passing game. And with Evan Ingram now in the fold too, that's going to see a big help. But Pat Bryant's going to play a role in that as well. As you said, his route running is super crisp. You can line him up wherever you want. He's like a very nuanced receiver in that way. Like he gets away with some of the push-offs and stuff.
Yeah.
I really like how he just approaches, his routes and how he approaches playing the ball downfield.
Man, and he might just dominate slants, because Evan Ingram told us that Sean told him when they signed him, he wants him to be a vertical threat. Like the 114 catches that he had with Jacksonville 2 years ago, incredible. But if he's going to have that, he's going to have more than 1,000 yards, because somehow he still had less than 1,000 yards because all he was doing was underneath stuff. I think Evan's going to take that vertical route this year. And I think Pat Bryant's just really going to live on the shorter stuff.
I love that. And I'm sure you guys have talked a lot about it, but the Evan Ingram, signing, I think has kind of gone under the radar a bit in terms of the NFL, like the wider landscape, people who talk about the sport and stuff. It's game changing. And you could see exactly what the offense needed last year. And they went out and got it in these guys. It's very exciting right now. I think there's some cautious optimism in the air. But this offense is just better. And it's because of those guys like Evan Ingram. Pat Bryant's going to play a role. I do think that he has a chance to really break in. Maybe towards the end of the year or maybe midpoint of the year, break into that 11 personnel grouping or something. But it's this versatility, man. It's how it's going to help out this offense, and it's how he's going to earn his role on the field, whatever that is, really, too. Yeah,
I completely agree with you there. Let's move on to some of the day 3 guys. And we couldn't do this show without just hearing from Jeremy Crawshaw, the Aussie. So let's just hear from Crawshaw talking about how cool it is that he's finally made it to the NFL.
It's a weird. I took a moment to take it in. Finally in the NFL, all the hard work's paid off. So.
I mean, you get an Australian punter with the accent,
stash,
with
too?
that stash. He brings it all, man.
He's got the swag, bro. I love it.
He does. It's so funny how like so many people and fans and sometimes even teammates want to just never pay attention to a punter and like discount him. They're not even like a football player.
Sure.
It's going to be the opposite with Crawshaw. People are going to love to hear from him. Just he's going to have just like this weird cult following in Denver, I feel.
He will. And I can tell you from experience, because last year the Buffs had an Aussie punter.
Yeah.
Coach Prime would call him mate. That was his name.
Oh, I hope Sean does that.
I would love to hear that again. Shout out Mark Bassett. But yeah, what Crenshaw has in this opportunity is obviously huge. And he's going to be a fan favorite, of course.
Yeah.
Like you come in, you're really going to be in line to be the starting punter. But man, those are the types of guys that the glue guys, you know, for lack of a better term, I guess. You need them.
100%. And Jake, I'm happy you brought it up because right before rookie minicamp started, the Broncos actually cut the only other punter that they had on the roster. They said bye to Matt Hack, so it's very clear. And obviously when you draft a punter and he's the first punter drafted and the only punter drafted, he's your punter. But the Broncos pretty much made that official with this pick right here. And then the final pick, this is why like he's going to make an impact for the Broncos for 10 years. And in the moment, some people were upset that the Broncos used draft pick on a punter. If you do that every year, yeah, I get why you're upset. You shouldn't be burning a draft pick every single year on a punter. Literally once every 25 years, that's okay to do. I guess actually they did draft Dixon 10 years ago. Once every 10 years, that's okay to do. He's going to be around for a long time. So when we talk about just how deep this draft class can be and how I believe it is a very deep draft class, you're getting a guy that's going to be a punter for this team for 10 years. And then what I love, you're getting in the 4th round, you're getting Q Robinson, a guy that I think is a steal, a sleeper in this draft. And then the Broncos use their final pick on this draft by just the ultimate gamble and high upside, no low. The gamble really didn't cost you anything by getting Caleb Lohner. And I'll tell you what, on the field, he sticks out away because he's 6'7". He's with other tall dudes and he just towers over them. And he is not an all-around tight end. He is not a blocker, and no one expects him to be that. But as a receiver, he looks like exactly what he is, a former basketball player with really good hands, instincts, that is just potentially has a chance to be a really good receiving tight end in the NFL.
That's all you need, though, right? I mean, you need like 100%. A red zone target. Like once you get in that red area, you know, around the 25-yard line or whatever, why not just throw him in there? Even just, hey, go run to the pylon right here. Let's just see if you can box this guy out. Like he did to DJ McKinney at Colorado last season. I love it because of, you know, the Jimmy Graham comps and all that stuff, but because of the size, but also because, and this is something I've heard Move the Sticks talk a lot about, DJ and Bucky, turning your receiving core into a basketball team, you know, kind of no pun intended with Caleb Lohner here, but you need kind of every skill set, and that'll just help make things so much easier when it comes down to scoring. You know, you have your 1 and 2 guards, right? You're like kind of shifty guys. Maybe that's your RJ Harvey or your Marvin Mims, right? Or your Troy Franklin, whoever it is. You
Those three, exactly. You nailed it.
You kind of get into your, you know, stretch type of guys. This is your Sutton, your Ingram, and then you have your big center in Caleb Lohner now. I really love how this is coming together.
Man, what a great way to put it, because the Broncos, Sean is definitely playing off that mindset.
Absolutely he is. That's how you should do it, I think, too. I think a lot of teams fall into that trap of, you know, we need this certain guy, and maybe it doesn't fit the skill set that they already have on the roster, or they double up on a skill set in the roster, and you can kind of see where some of those problems come into play. But I think some of the best offenses, you know, the Saints back in the Payton days, the Brady offenses, they kind of had that, right? You know, they had the Wes Welkers, the Gronks, you know, all the types of receivers. Just helps out everyone.
And you mentioned the Jimmy Graham comp with him. Sean was kind of asked about that, but just asked more so like, this guy had 54 career snaps in college football, and you drafted him. Like, what did you see in him? This is Sean talking about Lohner.
Limited. So this is a basketball player for most of his career. He plays a year of football, count the snaps, count the catches, I get it. And yet you see traits, you see movements. I'm not a big fan of the Big 12 Pro Day because a player like him gets 6 routes instead of 20 that he would get at his own Pro Day. So hopefully that's going away. But there's 2 or 3 clips where I'm like, play it again. And then when you watch them, and you watch them move, and even in our first 2 days here, you know, and people bring up Jimmy, and now Jimmy was a 3rd round pick, I get it, but there were some similarities in that he only played a year, 80-some snaps. I think he had 18 catches. And so, yeah, we got to coach and develop. You know, in other words, if it was already present when you watch him and you guys see him and shake his hand and stand next to him, like, holy cow. And so there's traits there that excite me. And then just visiting with him and, you know, his intentionality and his excitement about it.
Holy cow is right, in the words of Sean. And I wrote an article last week about how Sean compared him to Caleb Lohner, to Jimmy Graham, and said, like, the traits are there and stuff. And a lot of people, rightfully so, kind of said, like, oh, come on, this is way too early for that comp. Sure. I get it. The reason I wrote that article is because Sean brought up the Jimmy comp. Yeah. Sean, again, I don't think Jimmy was actually asked in this question. Sean brought up Jimmy again. So it's not just like, oh, he's just former basketball players that are tall and were later-ish draft picks. No, this is Sean Payton, the guy who drafted Jimmy Graham and turned him into the Jimmy Graham that he was, saying, I see Jimmy Graham in this guy. How am I not supposed to get excited when Sean Payton, like you said, knows everything about the offensive side, is telling us, man, he sees these traits and he's getting excited about him like this?
How can you not trust Sean, too?
Yeah.
Obviously, with his experience, you know, with Jimmy Graham, but I'll throw another name at you. And again, I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse here.
No, do it. Sean's doing it, so you can.
All right. There's a Hall of Fame tight end out there who did not play college football.
It's crazy.
Antonio Gates.
Crazy.
So, look, there's a specific skill type, right, with these guys. Obviously, the big body, you know, but being able to go and for a basketball punt, play the ball above the rim, right? You see that with a lot of these guys, man, and it's an advantage. Corners are what? They max out at 6'3", 6'4", at the higher end.
Pat's a huge corner, and he's 6'2.5".
Exactly. So it's just a massive advantage. It's something that not a lot of teams have, and it doesn't. It takes a lot to go right for this to work, right? I think if it's if it was a pattern or a trend that is taking the league by storm, we would have seen that. These are very few and far between cases. So Sean's taking his shot here, and why not in the 7th round? Absolutely.
100% you do that. And this was actually kind of just a bonus pick because of some of the trades the Broncos made. They got an additional 7th round pick. So it's like, might as well just take a shot in the dark. Otherwise, you're going to get a 7th round guard. Like, no, take this. And also it fits perfectly with kind of the Broncos' plan and how they have it set up. Evan Ingram, clearly tight end 1 for this team right now. The Broncos were interested in maybe getting a day 2 tight end. Didn't work out that way. So now they get a guy that they're going to ask nothing of Caleb Lohner this year.
Right.
I think he might make the roster. We'll see, but he gets to develop a year or two behind Evan Ingram, who is the perfect pure receiving tight end. Like, some people thought he should just transition to wide receiver coming out of college. He didn't. Stayed in that tight end role. 2 Pro Bowls now. Worked out well for him. He gets to learn from the guy that is supposed to be what Caleb Lohner wants to be.
I mean, that's exactly the type of guys you take in the 7th round, right? And just watching particularly the touchdown against Colorado, like, I don't remember Caleb Lohner in the game at all. But Utah just said, you know what? We're in the red area. Go out there. You go up against Colorado's 2nd best corner. Just box him out. Yep. That's exactly what he did. That's all you need from him this year. I mean, even if that's his role, all you need him to do really is just develop in terms of his mind, learn the playbook, develop his body, just become more of a football player athlete as opposed to a basketball player. And then you're cooking with something, So baby steps, but there's a lot to like about that pick.
Big time. And you talked about CU's number 2 corner last year. The only reason he was a number 2 corner is because he was playing with Travis Hunter, who was obviously his 2nd pick. In Fran's way too early 2026 mock draft, what's his name again?
DJ McKinney.
DJ McKinney. Yes, of course. DJ McKinney was a 1st round pick next year, and Lohner boxed him out.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it just shows you he can do it against good competition as well.
And Fran's not alone in that. I think I saw Jordan Reed on ESPN have a way too early 2026 mock, and he had DJ in there.
Yep.
And DJ, I mean, he's if he has a good season production wise, you're going to hear all the things you heard about, all these other, the Devon Witherspoon types. Like, he's a real lengthy corner, man. He's got long arms, long legs. He's very competitive. And playing across from Travis, he got a lot of those targets. So seeing Caleb just like make him look like a little boy, that was an eye opener for me, man. Really.
Yeah, and clearly it was an eye opener for Sean because they identified him in one of his 4 catches that he had. Okay, Jake, we got more to get to in a short time, and before we transition, want to give a shout out to what we've going on over at thednvr.com, and including especially our sale that we've got. If you want to rep Travis Hunter, if you want to rep Bo Nix, you want to rep the Nuggets, you want to rep, I guess, a new era of the Rockies without Bud Black, you can do that with our sale. Over 30% off on every single thing in our store at the Locker, and over up to 75% off in our spring cleaning clearance sale. So make sure to get in, whether you want to rep Bo Nix, Travis Hunter, CU, Rams. We got everything over there, over at the Locker. So make sure to click the link in our description. Get in on the sale now before things go away. Okay, I said we had a lot more to get to. We have a good update on Dre Greenlaw. And just to kind of reset the scene, 2 weeks ago, I believe, a report came out from California that Dre Greenlaw had suffered, quote, a serious quad injury that was going to make him miss a good chunk of the season. Shortly after, a lot of reports came out, and I found out as well that it was not a serious injury, that he did suffer a quad injury, but it was a minor injury. It would have been more day-to-day, week-to-week if this was in the season than month-to-month or season-ending by any means. And so this was the first time that we've talked to Sean since that came out. And let's just say Sean felt very, very comfortable in Dre being back for training camp. Let's hear what Sean had to say about that.
You don't know how tempted I get sometimes, but I had showed great restraint. He's doing well, and will be a full participant in training camp. All of that's doing great. But I refrain.
Okay, good. So, one, Sean, don't hold back. Just you tweet sometimes. In fact, he tweeted yesterday for Mother's Day. Yeah, he's online. Just blast the report next time.
It just takes one word, Sean. Just a QT in one word. That's all it takes, bro.
Exactly. There's many different one words that he could use too.
I was going to let you fill in the blank there. Massive news, though.
Huge news, because obviously Dre is a huge part of helping this defense become from the third best defense to the number 1 defense next year. And him and Singleton, man, I think that could be one of the best inside linebacker groups in the NFL. Couple it with the front 7 they've got. They're included in that, plus the back end that they've got on the defense. Really good to hear that. And not just hear that it's like, yeah, he'll be fine for week 1. Yeah. He'll be full go for training camp. If that's the case, I'm not worried about this injury at all. If not, and we get into training camp, because I've seen it happen too many times where a guy gets injured in the offseason and then he's supposed to be ready for camp and then he's not, then I'll be worried. But if he's full go, started training camp like Sean's saying, then I'm not worried about this.
Definitely. I mean, this is a guy who's going to come in. He's going to really change this defense in terms of what the Broncos have done at this position. I mean, I asked Dre this on Friday. They haven't really invested at this position probably since, Todd and Brandon Marshall were on the roster?
Yeah.
So it's a major prized free agency acquisition, but also it's, it's something this defense has needed for a long time, is a player like Dre Greenlaw. So that was a very scary time when that report came out. I'm sure a lot of people thought the same, but all good news. So let's get rolling, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see him in orange and blue.
Me too. And speaking of orange and blue and seeing them, we found out rookie numbers over the weekend. Jake, I need to know what you think of these rookie numbers, because, man, there's some that are like, okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
And there's others that are like, oh, no, please don't tell me that is a permanent number for him. And let's start with the Broncos' number 1 pick, Jahdae Barron, wearing number 12. What do you think of that?
I like it a lot.
Oh, okay.
I really like it a lot. Maybe it's having to do with watching another number 12 dominate on defense last year.
Great point.
But this just fits, I think. I mean, what you just described earlier in the show, a player who's going to be moving around the field a lot, seeing that in 12, you just know that he's like that.
Man, that just sold me more than I've been sold on this number, because I don't think it's a bad number.
No, I like this a lot for him.
But now you bring up the Travis Hunter at cornerback wearing 12, a playmaker, a baller, plus PS2's wearing 2. You have Brandon Jones wearing 22. He kind of fits in between with 12. Okay, I'm a little more sold on it now. Okay. I can get into it.
You didn't like it?
I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, though. I didn't love it. I might be bordering on loving it now, Jake. All right. You just changed my mind. But you know who doesn't love it? Is Barron himself. Jahdae, I asked him about it, and he said, this is, let's just hope it's a temporary number. So this was kind of the one that I was given right now.
Let's just hope it grows on him.
Well, exactly, and maybe it will. Maybe it will grow on him. He just needs to see Travis Hunter out there and realize, okay, I'm going to be that sort of guy. Otherwise, I don't, especially with the numbers that are available.
Right.
That might be the best one.
So looking through the numbers right now, I mean, if he wants a single digit,
I don't think there are any, is there?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. Because you can't share numbers in the NFL, right?
No.
Yeah, so.
Because John Elway had to steal his number 7 that he wore at college. And speaking of the other guy,
Jahdae.
Yeah, exactly. The other guy that stole number 7, or that John stole number 7 from, is second round pick. RJ Harvey wore number 7 at UCF. He's going with number 37 now. What do you think of that one?
I really don't want to publicly comment on this.
It's terrible. It's awful. Now I
don't want to overreact though. There's going to be cuts made. There's 53 guys who make the game or the roster. 45 for game day. There's going to be numbers available.
Yep.
Let's get my guy in something more flattering, though, please.
100%. Please, Sean. If you have to cut someone to get him a better number, you got to do that. But this was the exact same number that Audric Estime wore during the offseason last year. Then once cuts happened, I don't remember who was cut, but 23 opened up. Audric took 23.
Okay.
That's exactly what's going to happen with RJ Harvey. So I would not buy an RJ Harvey number 37 right now. My guess is he's going to take a different number once the time the season comes around.
At least you got a 7 in there on that one. Though.
That's true. Yeah, maybe he sticks with it because of that. But 37 on, get a fullback in that number. Not your star running back.
Chat's saying 37 is tough.
That's crazy.
If a guy in 37 is running by you and juking you out of your shoes, though, you're like, all right, he's different.
Right. That's very true because you're not expected to do that in 37, which means it's a bad number right there. Wow. Thank you for letting me know that you guys like it because I have not heard one person say a good thing about it.
Yeah.
So I guess now I have. I'll change my mind there. Jake, let's roll through a couple of other these. Pat Bryant gets to keep his number 13.
Perfect.
Yep.
No notes needed.
Yep. And I asked him about this too. And instead of being like, yeah, it's awesome that I get to keep my number, he's like, yeah, it's just a number. I guess it's cool that, my family just gets to keep their 13s that I wore in college, but it's just a number. So crazy enough, maybe the guy that cared the least about numbers actually got his number, and it is a cool number. I like it.
I kind of love Pat Bryant now. I love the mentality.
Man, just all ball.
Yeah.
He also called Denver. He said this is a hell of a city. He loves Broncos Country already, loves the city, loves the building, loves Sean Payton. So he is all in on the Broncos. Yeah, he's also going to be a fan favorite as well. Sai'vion Jones wearing number 95. He wore 35 in college. The NFL has opened up numbers a lot where now you can wear a lot more numbers. Defensive linemen, though, can't wear numbers in the 30s. So he said he would have liked to stick with 35, which is interesting. But he likes number 95, especially because it keeps the 5 in there.
Can we just open up all the numbers?
What are we doing?
Honestly.
It should be like college. Anything
really
should go.
I get it. There's sometimes why is a defensive lineman wearing 4? There should be, some I guess common sense in the process, but let the guys have their numbers.
I completely agree, but 95 is a good defensive line number.
It's good.
I like that one for Sai'vion. Q gets number 51. And I had to remind him that that's Todd Davis's number.
All right.
Yeah. So I like it. From an edge, just in my mind, knowing Todd and everything, it just looks like an inside linebacker's number, but it's a pretty good one, I think.
Yeah, not bad. We could do better, I think.
Yeah. Maybe, I was going to say, well, the flip one is 15, and that's Nick Bonito, which is...
Okay, wait.
Which works.
Now I'm seeing the vision. I like this.
Okay, I love it. Jeremy Crawshaw, the punter, going with 39. This gives me kind of college vibes.
It does for sure. Odd number for a punter.
Yeah,
but,
terrible number.
You know what, Jeremy? Do your thing, bro.
Yeah. My guess is he probably didn't choose this one. A 6th round rookie punter.
No, not a lot of options for guys like
probably not given the best number right there. So if you want a Crawshaw number, you might want to wait, or maybe he just embraces it. You know, I don't know what punters like to go with here.
Yeah, that's about the depth of my punter talk, bro.
And then you know this guy, Shannon Sharp, Caleb Lohner, wear number 84, just like Shannon did. What do we think of that?
We just speculated a lot about Caleb Lohner and the potential of him, right?
Yep.
Let's just throw on some more. Give him 84. Why not, baby?
I love it. I absolutely love it. And hey, Shannon came out as pretty much a receiver, then was able to develop in an all-time or an all sort of role right there. So maybe he will do that with the Broncos as well. We got some super chats we're gonna hit, and we're gonna hit them in overtime. Go to thednvr.com to finish out this show with us. And once again, shout out to my guy Jake for rocking and rolling with me on this show. And shout out to the Toyota chat, and shout out to the super chat. Let's hit them really quick. First one coming in from our friend Aiden Chisholm. You think this is Henry's relative? I think it actually might be. Says, I'm still nervous about our wide receiver room. Is there any word on Vele and Franklin's development? Also, is there a way to send photos to you guys? Henry's bro tank era was a time, and messing with him is fun. I love that, Aiden. Yes, why don't you, if you can, DM me, Zach Stevens DNVR on Twitter, or I believe it's the same or similar on Instagram. But find me, send me those pictures. We need to pull them up when he gets back on Wednesday's show. So Aiden would absolutely love that. Thank you for the super chat. And how are you feeling about Vele and Troy Franklin?
Oh, man. Okay.
Yep. Oh, where are we going?
Well, I personally thought coming into this offseason that wide receiver was a much bigger need than Sean Payton and a lot of people thought.
Yeah.
I was encouraged to see some of the things I saw from Vele and Franklin. It's just, I would have kind of liked to see what they did with the secondary with the wide receiver room, where it's like, yeah, we're good. Let's just get better, though. Like, I think there's so much room in that wide receiver room to get better. You know, I am high on Pat Bryant. I think he can make an impact right away and do some things for this team. Who knows? Maybe if Egbuka doesn't go the pick before the Broncos, you know, things are different. You never know. But Sean said it early on. I mean, until Kay Adams at the Super Bowl, right? Like, thinks that he really likes the wide receiver room.
Yep.
It's not as big a need as many people think.
Yep.
I'll trust Sean against
stick
my
to your own
advice.
Yeah. You know, and it's totally fair. And I mean, RK was on the exact same lines as you, like pounding the table for a receiver in the first round, thinking they really needed an upgrade. And I understand that. But he does really like Vele. And it's going to be interesting to see how Pat Bryant and Vele complement each other or compete against each other, and maybe that spot's kind of open between that one spot's open between those two guys right there. I think they're both going to make the roster, but in terms of playing time, and Troy Franklin, man, I don't want to write him off after last season because of what he had with Bo before. But if there's one guy that I thought was going to have a chemistry issue with Bo, Troy Franklin would have been the last person that I would have put on that list last year. And he was the number one person that just wasn't able to get on the same page. What I know about Sean, year one is with a receiver is like anything's up in the air. Anything can happen as a rookie. Year two is, okay, did he take the step? And then year three is it's a deal breaker. You either take the step or you're off the team. So year two is kind of this big step. Can he take that step? I think both those guys are going to take a step. And if Troy does, man, that's going to be dangerous.
What would you say? Would you set the odds as the favorite for wide receiver as biggest need going into the 2026 offseason? If you could look into your crystal ball right now.
Right now, probably.
Because that's where I'm at, especially after the way they addressed it in the draft, only adding one. I thought they could have added multiple. In my opinion,
Totally. Yeah, they could have gone early and late. But like you said, Sean truly does believe this receiver room's better than most people think.
I'll trust the man.
Yep.
Trust him.
And last one coming in from Wilson, the Ghost, who says, RB is wearing 30 to 39 is hard AF. I don't give a frick. That shocking. I mean, 30 in Colorado is obviously legendary with the Broncos, with TD and then Phil Lindsay wearing that number as well. 33, I think Javonte is a bigger running back. Filled it out pretty well. I personally don't like any other numbers in the 30s for a skill position player.
Mike Anderson had it rocking for a bit.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
But
a bigger back.
Yes, a bigger back too. But I mean, Sean Payton had Alvin Kamara rocking a 41 and just going crazy on people. So
good point. 41's a really bad number, and you're right. Alvin made it look pretty darn good.
He did. So while I don't really like it, I'll rest my judgment until we see the field.
I guess we'll trust Sean in everything. Offensive.
That's how I've been operating the last 2 years, bro.
And it's worked out pretty good for you.
It has. I mean, am I allowed to say this? I was kind of a Bo hater in the draft last year. It turned me into a believer.
Yep.
Like, I mean, Sean Payton's just one of the best coaches in the game, man.
Yep.
He, what happened to him in New Orleans, it was just a lot of things happening at once with that roster, the cap situation, a lot of people moving around too. So it's a good thing, I think, for him to get this reset and just kind of pick up where he left off in a way and not have to deal with a lot of the things that were hamstringing him in New Orleans. Like, I mean, he's a top 3, top 5 at worst coach for me. I'm super excited. Yeah. He's the Broncos head coach. The future's very bright with him at the helm.
Future's very bright, and I'm super excited to have you on today, Jake. Always love talking about football with you.
For sure, we've done together, bro.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. I loved it. I loved it. Jake, you're welcome back anytime. Yeah. Make sure to tune in to the Buff Show starting soon with Jake. And, like you said, shout out to RK and Allie for officially getting married this past weekend. And we're going to be back in 24 hours from now. We are going to know if the Broncos are playing an international game. Seems like they are. We're going to talk about it tomorrow, plus give our final schedule predictions tomorrow on the show because we've got the official schedule release coming Wednesday night at 6 p.m. where we'll also be going live for that. So stay tuned tomorrow, 11 a.m., where we're going to be talking about the Broncos likely going to London. Shout out to Jake. Shout out to everyone tuning in. Shout out to Dion and you here, and we'll see you tomorrow on DNVR Broncos Podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.